guys are not ready for today. You are not. You are not. We've been building to this moment this whole time. We've been getting ready. We've been gathering resources, building themes, building elements, ideas. And it's time to execute upon them. Here we have it. The frame of what is going to be the heart of the Amber City. And I am so excited to get underway with this. I've already gathered up a majority of the materials. I just wanted to kind of intro the process before I get started on blocking this out. This has been a long way coming, and I'm so excited to lay this down. Let's get started. And there it is in all of its glory, the center of our Amber City. A beautiful factory. Wow. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It is exactly what I was hoping for. It is meant to have a feeling of a cathedral that once used to sit up here in the city turned into a factory, even with bits and bobs that were added on, which you can tell they are added on because they're a lighter color and made with different materials than the rest of the church. And I think that effect is very legible. And we have the sun setting, which I think is my favorite time to view the build from. I think that looks awesome. I think we really have gotten the feel of our Amber City down to a science. That is super, super duper cool. But that is not all we are doing today. Because now that we have our factory built, our factory has to produce something. It can't just sit on the wayside after we finished building just a shell. we have to go inside. Ooh, almost looked at Enderman. Not the most effective door, but we'll eventually get a better one. And we eventually need to lay down a floor for our interior. But we're not quite there yet, because we need to make some machines in here. I don't know if y'all remember, but I made myself a little bit of a promise that I wanted to play around with potions in this build, and that I wanted to find ways to kind of incorporate making them more accessible to myself. And I have given myself this space in this factory to kind of come up with a way to do that. And if you remember, that we did come up with a design of a automatic potion brewer with some level of customization. And my idea is, I think that I want to kind of create multiple layouts of those potion machines to kind of give myself access to those potions with some support. And I think that will really give a great amount of purpose to the thing that we're currently doing. And that also should help me inform what I want to do with the interior of the build itself. So let me crank out some of those real quick, and then we can discuss more what I plan on with doing the inside after we've given this building a purpose. So we've got our potion brewers down. They are settled into the factory. I really thought that this was the place that I wanted to do this. Mainly because this is something that I promised myself that I wanted to work on. And because I made that promise to myself, I really wanted to put it in a place that was going to be important to the build. And I think that the Cathedral Factory, the Cathactory? No. The factory is the perfect place for it, because I wanted it to feel like it was important and key to what I was doing. And it may not seem that key to y'all because we didn't spend that much time on it, but most of the things that we worked on actually played a huge part in being able to gather the resources for this and be able to maintain these brewers. But one of the things that I was thinking is that this is the design that we took from Etho, and we implemented it to the best of our ability. But the one thing that I did and didn't realize when trying to do this is that I built them a little too close to each other. And so now I'm working on a shulker loader unloader thingy, and it's running into the problem that it connects to this. And I'm wondering if we can break this line with a stair, a trap door, carpet. The thing is, I don't know if you send a pulse through this, if it actually will carry the signal through. I've never had this problem before. Oh. Oop. What about? Okay. So this is gonna have to be a solid block. Oh, stop. Oh, stop whatever you're doing. Stop it. This is meant to be a dropper. That's... I'm learning so much. But this is going to have to be a solid block, no matter what, because these signals cannot be powering each other. That is just not something that can be happening. So we're going to have to cover this up with something whenever we design it. And I think that should be good. What my idea is, and I'll see if I can get it cleanly executing to where they're not interacting with each other, but I want them all to independently function of each other, so that, like, this one's making speed potions, like speed 2. This is making, like, fire resistance for 8 minutes. This one's making strength potions. This one's making instant health regeneration. I think that would be, or even night vision, because we do have a golden carrot supply. That wouldn't be a bad idea, actually. I want to get this cleaned up, and then underneath, one of the reasons that I actually wanted to start playing around with these shulker unloaders is that I want them to integrate into our world building and have them be shipped and stored over here in our train depot. And I want them to feel like this is part of the things that we're pushing out, having them be our products. Whether that be, just for storytelling elements or literal stashing elements, I think that would be really cool. And so I'm going to get this cleaned up. I'm going to get it functioning. And then I'm going to come back to you whenever we start talking about how we want to cover up this beast of redstone. Hello, hi, welcome in. Welcome to the factory. We were just finishing up whenever you decided to stop by. Yes, yes. We finally got our lovely redstone covered up. Come take a look. I think that the factory is coming along quite swimmingly. I really was trying to get a good idea of how much I wanted it to feel like a factory and how much I wanted it to have a little bit of a tinge of magic. And I think we grabbed that mixed bag quite well. In fact, we are just finishing up a brew over here. Down the hoppers, brew us some potions, and then once this shulker box finishes up, it is going to pop off and traverse its way. It should be finishing up right about now. Bloop. And there it goes. It should be making its way all the way over to the train station. Ready to be picked up and delivered. Not too bad, not too bad. And I think that'll do it. I think we have set up the transition from the train depot to the actual factory and warehouse connection. And I think that is going to be nice and dandy. It gives the exact feeling that we're going for, that this is where the products of Amber City, the thing that is being made, gets moved to here where it gets shipped out to the masses. And I think that's awesome. But more particularly, just to look at what we ourselves are making, I wanted to kind of break down the layout that I decided with, because these are individual brewing machines, but I wanted to try and organize them in a meaningful way, and I kind of have. So over here, this is specifically just a speed potion brewer. I have the option of making it speed 2, making it 8 minutes, making it throwable, all potential. And I also have the ability to just switch out this ingredient for anything else that has the similar path for brewing, of either being a power 2, a length, a duration increaser, and a throwability possibility. But not only do I have that set up, I also have night vision and strength, and also the inverse of that, of invisibility and, oh gosh, what is it? It's weakness. Yep, that's right. And then we also have, oh, I'll have to cover that back up. But these are actually the ones that I was most interested in and find very cool. These are the newer potions added whenever they added the trial chambers of the I can't remember if it's after death or after getting hurt that these effects go into place. But it's really cool. They're the potions of infestation, the potions of cobwebbiness and slime, to where whenever you take damage, you will make mobs, webs, silverfish. This is what you often will see people using in their XP farms, in their condensed XP farms. And that's why all of these are condensed together, because they only will have one other ingredient other than themselves, and that's gunpowder. And they will most likely be used in the means of throwable potions anyway. And then finally, we have just one ingredient potions that would also need duration extension, and that is water breathing, regeneration, and fire resistance. Because there might be tier 2 for regeneration, but I personally would never see a reason why I would need that. And so I have lumped them in over here together, because I think that makes a lot more sense. Because most of these, I will not need greater effects from them. I will only need them for working on a project underwater, or for working on a project in lava, something along those lines. And so they are going to make up the four categories of the potion sellers that the potion seller, um, the brewing stations that we have. And I think that is going to do it with the interior of the factory. Now, you may be wondering, Embrace, now that you have all the potions that you could ever want and dream of, what are you going to use all those potions for? Well, that's kind of the fun of it. I won't really be using them for anything right now, actually. I kind of have come to the decision that I think I'm almost done with this project. In fact, I just have a few things that I'd like to clean up, and then I would like to call it done. Now, I don't mean making builds and playing the game, or even making videos in general, but I just think that the Amber City itself is at the end of the project. It is a vision that I've had for a long time. It's a build that I've always wanted to do, and I kind of think that I've done it, as weird as that sounds. This has been a much longer journey than I expected it to be. It was a 6-month project, kind of just stemming from the idea of wanting to use a certain block in a certain way to kind of create an appeal and an effect, while also being inspired by the people around me, and hoping to try and make something cool along the way. And I think I've achieved that. But I also think that I am done with this idea in particular. I can't see myself advancing it any further without boring myself, boring you. I really feel like I have nothing more to show of this idea. It really is just clock cleaning at this point, of just shining the small areas. Uh, Fun fact, hold on, I do want to show this. Times mined. I have mined 9,000 snow. Almost 9.5 thousand snow. And that's not even as much snow as I've cleared, because I used to also clear with using lava buckets and torches, just because I really wanted the streets to feel clear. But I also kind of love that it looks like snow is collecting in the streets. But that's beside the point. But that's kind of the idea, is that this was meant to be a project to encourage me to grow as a builder, specifically because I have personally always struggled with long-term projects. I am much more... Who took my door off? There was definitely a door on here. I think a zombie took it off, because there's one on this door. Yeah, okay. And took this door off, too. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to put some doors back on. But that's the point, is that I personally have always struggled to kind of work in terms of long projects, and this was kind of meant to help me compartmentalize the ideas of big projects and make it into smaller ideas, and create kind of an everworld for me, because I am not really good at condensing my ideas into their parts. And this, I think, was a success at the end of the day. I think we have succeeded in what my goal was. But now I think I'm done with this aspect in the project, and I'd like to move on to the second part of the project, which is building other things. And I think what I'm going to do, now that I have done this, and I may eventually come back to the city and work on it and make it more, but I personally feel that I'm right now done with the project. And I think that means I want to give it a break and instead focus on some other building projects that I've kind of started to have in mind after I've kind of cleared this out of my creative way. Because it is, for lack of a better word, this is an industrial district. It is a decently inefficient and not very well done industrial district. I have potion brewers. I have bee farms, cactus farms, sheep farms. I can even show you some of the ugly bits. I build my trees over here. There's some wheat growing over there. I have farms in here, sugarcane. I have flower farms, all of that. I use this as kind of an industrial district. And I think I'm ready to move on to other projects. And so I'd like to thank y'all for spending time with me as I go through this project and really trying to improve myself and become a better builder, player, creator, as y'all have gotten to witness that. And I really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. And I think that I've really enjoyed this project, and I'm glad that y'all got to witness it with me. But I think that's going to be all from the Amber City. I'll see y'all around. Bye bye.